Hello everyone. In this session, we are going to cover two main important MDX functions. Those are one is the filter, other one is the having. So most of you guys might not see or might not find any related documents in the Microsoft site related to the having clause. Okay, so because the both filter and having works in same way. Okay, where it will fetch the data based on your filter condition and your search condition. But in terms of the flexibility, filter function will give the more flexibility compared to the having. So you can use the filter clause in both your select clause in your MDX query, as well as you can use the with member clause. Okay, so there is a typo here, member clause in your query. When it comes to the having clause, it's only restricted to use only within the select query of your MDX. Okay, so now let's go into detail where we can go with four different scenarios, and then we can compare how both will work. Okay, so these are the select statements already prepared by using the AdventureWorks. Okay, so I will post these MDX queries in my comment section of this video, so you can copy these queries into your local and you can play with that. Okay, so let's go into the first scenario. So in here I used the filter function. Here I'm trying to fetch my internet sales amount, and for all the dates that I have in my queue, where I'm doing one more check here. If at all my internet sales amount is greater than 10,000, then I want to fetch those internet sales amount and the respective dates. Okay, so now if I execute this query, the first query, here you go. So I got day wise the data received from 2010 to so till 2013. So that's the data we have in queue, where it fetched the 987 rows. Okay, so excluding it, which includes the, 987, which includes the header also. Header in the sense, this is the header I'm referring. So the count, whatever you see here, 987, which includes this header also. If you exclude the header, the count of rows will be the 986. Okay, to avoid confusion, let's consider the header. So where my count of records that I fetched using the filter function is 987. Now let's move on to the same scenario using the having clause. So I wrote the having clause here. That the syntax you can observe here how I wrote the having function here. Okay, so now if I execute this, okay, and then there you go. So I got the same records. You can see the count of records are same. Okay, so both are working, both are fetching the same records. Okay, the only thing is we need to look at the performance. So which one is giving the good performance and all, we need to check in the by running the SQL profiler. There we can see which is running on how many seconds. Okay, but I'm not going to cover the performance testing between the filter and having. Let's move on to the scenario 2. Um, so in scenario 2, what I did, I just extended a few more additional filter conditions within the filter function. So what I'm trying to do here, I'm trying to fetch the internet sales amount, the date wise, and this time I want to fetch the internet sales amount between the greater than 10,000 and less than the 20,000 sales amount. Okay, so now let's see how many records that we get it here in the scenario 2. So this time it fetched the dates between the these two threshold values, greater than 10,000 and the less than 20,000. Even in MDX query, the between clause works in same way, okay, because there is no between clause in MDX. So if at all you want to write any between condition, you need to write in this way. Okay, just for your information. Okay, now back to the topic. So now here I got, when I execute that scenario 2, it fetched 382 rows. Okay, now move on to the having clause. Even having also, I used the same thresholds, right? So let's see how many records we fetch it this time. So now you see same records, 382 rows. Now on scenario 3, I just added one more. I mean, until scenario 1 and 2, we use the filter condition only on the internet sales amount. Now I'm using the additional filter condition from the dimension attribute. So in here, I'm trying to fetch the internet sales amount where my threshold is greater than 10,000, less than 20,000. And this time I want to fetch only the dates belongs to the, where my product category is belongs to the accessories. Okay, now if I execute this, so you can see here, this time I got only the 19 rows, which is nothing but only the records belongs to the accessories category. Okay, so you can write the same statement using the having clause. You can do the same thing, and then let's execute this. Okay, you can see the performance. Oops. Okay, I think yeah. So here you won't get the same because I added the additional attribute in my select class. Let me remove that. Now execute again. Now this time you can see here 19 rows. Okay, so in case if, I mean, here I used only the date in my report header, but if at all would like to add more dimension attributes, yes, you can add it. Let me add it here. So maybe I'll add one more subcategory here. So I'm just adding the additional dimension attributes. I'll put this into tuple just to have the clear visibility. I mean, clean way. Now let's execute this. Now let's see what will happen. What happened? So too few arguments were passed to the filter function. The minimum argument count for this function is 2. Right, here comma is missing. Now let's execute this. Now you see I got the date wise and then product subcategory wise and their sales transactions. Even we can add this column in the having clause. Okay, so now let me run this query, and here you go. So we got the 32 rows in the having clause, and then filter, we also get the 32 rows. Okay, this is how you can add n number of additional dimension attributes where you can use the filter. But again, careful when you're adding the more dimensions, so maybe these thresholds might not be valid, but always check your data quality. Now moving on to the scenario 4. So this is the where I want to show you how filter function is flexible than having. See, in this scenario 4, I'm trying to get the distinct count of my products where my internet sales amount is 10,000. Okay, now if I execute this query on the day wise, so I get the distinct count of products, how many products I have is having the greater than 10,000 sales for that given day. Okay, so I get this count. But when it comes to the having, we cannot write the having. and with having clause with using the with member, because having won't support in the with member. That's the reason I mentioned in the top. It's having clause is the very less flexible compared to the filter function. Okay, so this is about these two functions. Thank you very much for your time.